Imagine you've spent a lifetime building something you know, a successful career, a family home you love, maybe a business, and now you want to make sure all that passes smoothly to your loved ones, exactly how you want it, without huge delays or crippling taxes or having it all become public record. How do people actually do that? How do they manage their legacy effectively?
That really gets to the heart of what we're diving into today. We're going to look at trusts. These are pretty powerful legal tools designed just for managing and distributing assets.
Okay, trusts.
Yeah, at its simplest, think of it like this. There are three key players. You, the grantor, you set the rules. Then there's the trustee, who holds and manages everything according to those rules. And finally, the beneficiary, the person or people who ultimately get the assets. It's like writing your own private instruction manual for your wealth.
Got it. So it's like putting your assets in a special container with very specific instructions attached. What are the big picture uses for these trusts?
Well, primarily, they're really essential for estate planning. They help make the transfer of wealth much smoother. Plus, they can be used for, strategic tax management. And importantly, they offer privacy. Much more privacy than you get with a simple will.
Right. Privacy is a big one. So for this deep dive, we're zoning in on the two main types, right? Revocable and irrevocable trusts.
Exactly. They both manage assets, but wow, the differences in control, flexibility, taxes, legal protection, they're huge.
And that's our mission today, really, to shed light on those key differences so you can understand which one might actually fit your own goals.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the core choice, it really boils down to this fundamental tension. Control versus protection. How much control are you okay giving up versus how much protection do you need for those assets? It's a big decision.
Okay, control versus protection. Let's unpack that. Let's start with the more flexible one, the revocable trust, the flexible friend, as you call it. What is it exactly?
So, a revocable living trust, you set it up while you're alive, and the key word is revocable. That means you, the grantor, can change it. You can amend it. You can even completely scrap it if you want, anytime, as long as you're mentally competent.
So it can adapt as your life changes. That sounds really useful.
It absolutely is. That adaptability is its main selling point. You keep total flexibility. You can change who gets what, switch trustees, adjust the rules if life throws you a curveball, marriage, divorce, grandkids popping up. And crucially, because you keep that control, often you're the first trustee managing your own stuff. The assets are still legally yours for tax purposes while you're alive.
Makes sense. You're still pulling the strings. So what are the big advantages besides being able to change it?
The number one advantage, usually the main reason people do it, is avoiding probate. Assets in a revocable trust skip that whole court process after you die, which can be long, expensive, and very, very public.
So faster, cheaper, and private transfer to heirs.
Exactly. Your finances don't become public knowledge, unlike with a will. Plus, it provides continuity. If you become incapacitated, say, from an illness or accident, your chosen successor trustee steps right in. No need for court intervention to manage your affairs.
Speed, privacy, continuity. Sounds great.
Hi.
But there has to be a catch, right? What's the downside of keeping all that control?
You nailed it. There are major trade-offs. While it gives you privacy after death, a revocable trust offers basically zero asset protection while you're alive.
Zero. Why is that?
Because you still control it all. Legally, it's still your stuff. So if you get sued or have creditors coming after you, they can absolutely reach the assets inside that trust. And another big one, these assets are still part of your taxable estate, so no direct estate tax savings there. Plus, they do cost more to set up than a basic will, and you have to actively manage them, making sure assets are actually titled in the trust's name.
Okay, so revocable trusts are great if your main goals are just avoiding probate, keeping control now, and having privacy later.
Precisely. Now let's flip the coin and look at the permanent protector, the irrevocable trust.
Irrevocable. Sounds serious.
It is. As the name suggests, once you set it up and put assets in, you generally cannot change or revoke it. That's the deal. The absolutely critical difference here is when you transfer assets in, you are giving up ownership and control, fundamentally.
Wow. Giving up control. That sounds like a huge psychological hurdle for people. Giving away your assets, essentially.
Yeah, it absolutely is. That feeling of it's not mine anymore is tough. But that permanence is the point. Making changes usually needs beneficiary consent or even a court order. This separation is key. The trust owns the assets now, not you. And because you don't own them.
The creditors can't get them.
Exactly. That's where the powerful asset protection kicks in.
Okay, that's a massive difference. So if I put my business, say, or my house into an irrevocable trust, it's shielded. What else? What are the other big wins for taking that permanent step?
Well, for the right situation, the advantages are significant. First, estate tax reduction. Those assets are out of your taxable estate. Big savings for heirs, especially with larger estates. Second, as you said, that strong creditor protection, shielded from lawsuits, bankruptcy claims against you personally. It can also be really important for Medicaid planning. Helps you qualify for long-term care by lowering your countable assets, but you have to set it up well in advance. That's key. And for legacy planning, you can set really specific, long-lasting rules for how wealth gets used across generations. Ensure your vision lasts.
Okay, suddenly that permanence sounds pretty good when you list those benefits. But apart from losing control, what are the practical downsides?
Loss of control is definitely number one. You can't just take assets back or easily change the terms. They're also much more complex. Drafting them requires real expertise to navigate all the legal and tax rules. And putting assets in can sometimes trigger gift taxes. That needs careful planning with an advisor.
So irrevocable is the way to go if your priorities are serious asset protection, cutting estate taxes, planning for long-term care, or building that multi-generational legacy.
That sums it up well. Maybe we can do a quick side-by-side, just to lock in these differences.
Good idea. Let's compare. So, amendment changing it.
Revocable.
Yep.
Easy. Anytime. Irrevocable. Basically, no, not without jumping through major hoops like court approval or getting all beneficiaries to agree.
Okay. Control.
Revocable. You keep full control, often as trustee. Irrevocable. You give up control to the trustee you appointed.
Which leads to ownership, right?
Yep. Revocable. It's still considered yours for tax purposes. Irrevocable. Legally removed from your ownership and your estate.
And that impacts asset protection.
Precisely. Revocable. None during your lifetime. Irrevocable. Strong protection from your personal creditors.
And finally, estate tax benefits.
Revocable. None directly. Irrevocable, yes. Reduces your taxable estate.
Got it. But despite all those differences, they do share some common ground.
Absolutely. Both types, revocable and irrevocable, typically avoid probate. That's a huge shared benefit streamlining a transfer. And both offer that crucial layer of privacy compared to a will, which is public.
Okay, so we know the what and the why. But you mentioned something crucial earlier, the how. A trust is useless if it's not funded. What does that actually involve?
Such a critical point. Funding means you physically, legally change the title of your assets. You go to the bank, the brokerage firm, the county recorder for real estate, and you retitle the ownership from your name into the name of the trust.
So bank accounts, investments, the house, business shares, even life insurance.
Yes, all of it. If you just sign the trust document but don't retitle the assets, the trust is like an empty box. Those assets could still end up in probate, completely defeating the purpose. Now, for revocable trusts, funding is usually simpler because the tax ID often stays your social security number. But for irrevocable trusts, that transfer is permanent and, like we said, could have gift tax implications. Needs careful execution.
So it's not just signing papers, it's updating ownership everywhere. And that must have tax consequences, too.
Oh, definitely. With a revocable trust, taxes are simple. It's usually invisible to the IRS during your life. Income flows to your personal tax return. Assets count for estate tax. No change, really. An irrevocable trust, though, often becomes its own separate taxpayer, meaning it might need its own tax ID number, file its own annual tax return. And while those assets are out of your estate for estate tax, the trust itself can face what are called compressed income tax brackets.
Compressed brackets. What does that mean practically?
It means the trust hits the highest income tax rates much faster at lower income levels than an individual does. So you might save on estate taxes down the road, but the trust itself could pay higher income taxes year to year. It's a trade-off, something to really hash out with a tax pro.
It's clear these aren't one-size-fits-all. Could you give us a glimpse into some specialized types of irrevocable trusts?
Sure. The flexibility within irrevocable trusts is amazing. For example, there's the ILO Irrevocable Life Insurance Trust. This is designed specifically to hold a life insurance policy. The big benefit, the death benefit payout isn't included in your taxable estate, passes tax-free to beneficiaries.
That could be huge for larger policies. What else?
Another really common one is a special needs trust. This is vital if you want to leave assets for someone with a disability. It provides funds for their supplemental needs, things beyond basic care, without messing up their eligibility for essential government benefits like Medicaid or SSI. It's incredibly important for protecting vulnerable loved ones. There are others too, like charitable trusts, GRETs, each for very specific financial goals.
Okay, so given this complexity and the different flavors, what's the absolute core question someone should ask themselves to figure out which path, revocable or irrevocable, makes more sense for them?
It comes back to that central theme. What are your main goals and how much control are you willing to trade for protection and potential tax benefits? If your number one priority is keeping control right now, avoiding probate later, keeping things private after you're gone, and you're not worried about estate taxes or lifetime asset protection, then a revocable trust is probably your best fit.
Makes sense. And the flip side.
If your primary drivers are reducing that potential estate tax bill, getting serious protection from creditors or lawsuits now, maybe planning for long-term care costs via Medicaid, or setting up a legacy that spans generations with specific rules, then you really need to be looking seriously at an irrevocable trust.
But either way, this isn't something you tackle alone on a Saturday afternoon.
Absolutely not. This is complex stuff with major legal and financial consequences. It's not a DIY project. You absolutely need an experienced estate planning attorney. They know the state laws, the federal tax rules, how to draft it correctly. It's non-negotiable. And bringing in your financial advisor is smart too, to make sure the trust fits into your overall financial picture.
That's a critical warning. Choosing the wrong type or even just having it drafted poorly. That could lead to disaster, right? Tax problems, no asset protection when you thought you had it, even family fight.
Exactly. The stakes are really high. Get professional guidance. It's a strategic decision, not just paperwork.
So let's wrap this up. Trusts, both kinds, are incredibly powerful legacy planning tools. They can help you avoid probate, maintain privacy, protect assets, reduce taxes, a lot of benefits. The Revocable Trust offers that great flexibility and control during life, but remember, no real tax or creditor protection benefits then. The Irrevocable Trust asks you to give up control, yes, but in return it offers potentially huge advantages in asset protection and tax savings. It's a strategic trade-off.
So, thinking about everything we've discussed, what stands out to you? What's the most surprising or maybe the most valuable piece you're taking away from this deep dive today?
And here's something to really chew on as you consider all this. Beyond just the mechanics of moving assets or saving on taxes, what kind of lasting legacy do you truly want to leave? And could a carefully crafted trust be more than just a legal document? Could it be the very thing that carries your core values, your intentions, forward, making sure your voice, your vision continues long after you're gone?